Hello everybody, this is Clay with Don't Forget to Tell, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Hot Toys Thor from Thor the Dark World MMS 224 6-scale collectible figure. As you can see, the box it comes in is in the shape of Mjolnir. Yeah, it's a really cool box. I really like it. It has some nice texturing here. Obviously, this is the symbol that appears when Thor teleports. Like I said, this is all done very nicely, very shiny finish if you can't already tell. So this is the front. On the side we got Thor on both sides. On the top we have Thor in the Dark World, and on the back we got a nice matte, somewhat shiny, but mostly matte, picture of Chris Hemsworth along with a warning. And this is the inside of the box. We get this also Hot Toys Presents cast and crew, and these are all the people who are the reason why this figure exists. Man, they're the reason that Hot Toys is so awesome. One thing I thought about that was cool about this is, we get this nice little picture of Thor, and in the right light, boom, you get a nice little glossy Thor. You don't even see it first. I thought that was pretty cool. On the inside, obviously some things are missing, namely the actual figure and Mjolnir. But you get 6 extra hands, as along with the 2 that are on the figure when you first get it. 2 peg hooks for the hands, peg pieces for the hands, and these 2 little pieces to put into the top of the cape for the Asgardian normal wear, which is right behind this little doohickey here. So you take this off, and we get something that fell out. This is like a nice little display piece. I'll show that in its entirety when I do the accessories. And then this right here, I don't know if you can really see it. I might have to pull it out. But yeah, that's the Asgardian cloak that comes with it. I'll show you what that looks like on the figure at the very end of the video. And here's that sheet that I showed earlier in its entirety. Alright, so here is the full shot of our beautiful, beautiful Asgardian man. I absolutely love this figure. Overall, it's just a fantastic figure from soup to nuts, man. I have some minor gripes, but overall, this is really, really great figure. I love this figure. I originally got this figure because I thought that it was Hot Toys' best interpretation of Thor. It was the best sculpt, and I mean, having it in person, I can verify that it is like having a tiny Chris Hemsworth, and that is kind of creepy, but that's okay because it's so damn beautiful. One of the things I really liked about this figure was that they did this scale mail armor on his arms, which I'll get into a little bit later, and how that might restrict articulation a little bit. Also, this rubberized armor in the middle is fantastic. But for right now, let's get into a close-up of this beautiful, beautiful Hemsworth head. Alright, you guys, remember what I said about this guy looking creepy realistic? This is in fact a toy and not a picture of Chris Hemsworth. It's a fantastic sculpt. I really like it. If I were to be nitpicky, I think that his nose is a little flared out, but he does that in the film, and it's in character, so it makes sense. I really, really like everything about this face, from the fact that they sculpted in the beard stubble, which gives it a little bit more depth. They also sculpted in the brow lines, and the blushing on the entire face is fantastic. The lips, the cheeks, and the brow just looks really great. And beyond that, I really like the hair sculpt. I think sometimes it frustrates me when Hot Toys does that kind of Barbie hair looking hair for their characters. They don't usually do it with men, but they do it a lot with the females, and I really wish they didn't. I feel like if they put this time into sculpting the hair, people will take the lack of articulation, which I will show you later, over, crappy looking doll hair, because the doll hair ends up getting frayed and just looks really bad. But this looks fantastic. I really like that they have these like little bits of loose hair falling around his face. It gives a little bit more depth to the sculpt. I really like the braids running through the hair, if you can see them. I think that looks great. I thought that was a really good design for the films, and I'm glad they incorporated it into the figure itself. I also really like this ponytail thing going on here. I really like how the grain of the hair kind of gets pulled into the ponytail, and you have this hair that comes out from underneath it. It looks really, really good. Yeah, all around, this face sculpt, this head sculpt is just absolutely fantastic. Yeah, so let's get on to the body, you guys. Alright, you guys, and while the head was absolutely amazing, this body is just as cool. I really like how they do the clothing on it. I think it, just as in a design aspect, I thought the design for the outfit and everything for the movies was really cool, and it really comes out in this figure. As with a lot of Hot Toys, when you have this much layering and this much clothing, it does restrict articulation a little bit, which I'll get into a little later. But really, I just love this outfit. You know what I mean? You got like a little bit of brown here. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. These gold bits have a lot of texturing and a lot of like rivets in them. I don't know if that's what you'd call them for armor. This is all rubberized right here except for these gold bits. This right here is like a pleather material. It has that scale stuff on the side as well. I think that's made of a different material than what's on the arms. This is all rubber down here as well, and there's a little bit of cloth on his loincloth area. These right here are really it's like a latexy cloth material, spandex, I don't know. But it sticks to the skin, and it's really cool. It allows for a lot of movability while still having that kind of classic scale mail look. That was one of the reasons why I got it, was I really like this bit right here. As for the back, I really like the pleated cape look. I'm deathly afraid of moving it around too much because I don't want the pleats to come out, but I will do it for you guys because you're special. Yeah, you got a lot of the same texture on the back. This is like that leather material here, about here down. This is rubber all up here. We got some brown coloring right here on the boots, which I really like because that's what I think of when I think of like a Norse god, like that kind of brown barbarian garb. This, again, the legs are, or the pants rather, are pleather. Alright, so let's get into articulation. Alright, you guys, so as for articulation, we got a ball joint on the ankles, so you get a little bit of pivot motion, a lot of up and down motion. The knees, one of the areas most affected by the clothing, only go up about that high. The knee bends back a bit. I believe it's I can't really feel, I believe it's a double jointed knee. But yeah, the hip only goes up that much, man, which is a little disappointing. But again, I'll live. There is a crunch joint in the stomach, but because of this rubberized material here, it's impossible to move really. You can feel it kind of shift when you do this, but I mean, you're not going to get any long-lasting results. The hand is on a ball joint. You can move this bracer up, or you can even take it off to adjust for the hand. So you got a lot of movement with the wrist. The elbow, another part affected by the clothing, only goes about there. Even there is pushing it a little bit. You start to press against the fabric. You can go up. There is no bicep swivel or anything, but the shoulder can go up. It can go out about that far, but that's about as high as it's going to get. Yeah, and that's about as close to its body as it gets. Yeah, and like as I said before, the head is affected a bit by this. I mean, it looks like I'm not doing anything, but that's the range of motion you got. You got a little bit of, I mean, it's on a ball joint, you know. But, you know, even when you do that, there is the little bit of an issue of like kind of floating hair, you know, it looks a little funky. So I keep them looking kind of straight ahead. But again, as I said before, I would take that over plenty of other things. Overall, the articulation may not be that great on this figure, but it is a beautiful figure, and ultimately, I'm not going to be playing with this that much. You know, there are those people who pose a lot. I'm not one of them. Alright, and here are all the accessories. We get the typical Hot Toys stand with crotch cupping capabilities. It's kind of out of frame right now, but trust me on that one. These pegs for the cape that I was talking about earlier. The Mjolnir, obviously, very important. And then 8 hands. 1 for each hand of each of the following. We got the open palm hand, the Mjolnir holding hand, the relaxed palm, and the closed fist. Each of these is really well done. See if I can zoom in a little bit here. They're all very, very, very detailed and very nice. As you can see, I have it on the display. My display is more than a little warped. I don't know if this is because the front of my box had a little bit of a ding. I don't know if this is just how it comes. I probably wouldn't have used it because it's too big for my shelf, but you know, it's still a nice thing to have. I wish it weren't as warped as it was. Alright, on to Mjolnir, you guys. This is an amazing piece, albeit they kind of had to make it amazing being that it's Thor. It's really detailed. I'm trying to get it into a light where you can see the little Asgardian script on the edge. The Mjolnir creed about whosoever holds this hammer and be worthy will possess the power of Thor. I think that's something along the lines of how it goes. And then we got this really nice handle. I don't know if you can see it. There's, yeah, a little bit of detailing on this end piece, as well as this leather piece. I really like it, you know, obviously, so you can hold it by this little bit right here. It looks really good. My only problem with this is it's a little bit too shiny. You could see there's like scuffs and dings. It came like that. This is die-cast metal, so it's very heavy. I'll actually get to a complaint I have with this and the figure in a moment. But I do wish that they would have done like a brushed steel kind of thing on this, because it, you know, I don't think Mjolnir is that shiny. I know it's a piece of metal, but usually it looks pretty matte almost, pretty dull. Alright, so herein lies the problem with the die-cast Mjolnir. This is how I originally wanted to pose him, although it is a little tricky. You can see it looks a little off because you can't bend his arms all the way back. But here's the issue. The joint's supposed to sit like this, but because of Mjolnir, it like falls significantly. It's a very heavy piece. But again, that's not really much of a problem, because again, it kind of gives a little depth. If it weren't as hefty, it would look a little strange. It wouldn't sit right in his arm or anything. I'm gonna put on his Asgardian wear, pop him back up. Also, always read the instruction sheet that comes with it. That way you don't break anything messing around with it. Alright, and here's Thor in his full Asgardian wear. I probably won't keep him displayed like this. I really like this costume design from the film, but this is painstaking. Pulling the tabs off his little cape, it feels like you're going to break it the whole way through. it's very stressful. And then the little tabs that I showed you guys earlier, they would go underneath in replacement of the tabs that you pull off for the cape. But seeing as you can't even see them, I'm leaving them off. I don't want to stress myself out taking them off again when I put his cape back on in a couple minutes here. I think it looks pretty good. Overall, man, this figure top to bottom, as I said earlier, just fantastic. I really like it. I have a few gripes about the posability. The little thing with Mjolnir and the joints not being able to handle Mjolnir. But really, I mean, besides that, it's a few tiny little aesthetic things. The loincloth at the bottom, I don't know if you saw it earlier, it seems a little off kilter. That's probably just my figure. There's a little seam running along his headline. You can't really see it right here. But at the end of the day, man, I would recommend this figure to anyone who is a fan of Thor, the Thor film. This is a fantastic figure. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and always remember, don't forget a towel.